when President Xi, who's really a friend of mine, as much as he can be a friend, he's a tough man. He's a tough man. Smart man, actually. Very smart. The press doesn't like it when I call him very smart. You know, they think I'm not supposed to call him smart. But he leads 1.4 billion people without question. In fact, during the meeting we were there, a couple of you were there and some of you saw it. So he's here and he's got about 6 people on each side. And every one of those people was standing like this. They were at attention. And I made a comment to one of them and it got no response. I said, are you going to answer me? I got no response. And President Xi didn't let him have any. So if there's any question, I said, I want my cabinet to behave like that. I'm demanding that I want them sitting up like that, Tim, just nice and straight. I never saw posture like that. I've never seen men so scared in their lives. They have the equivalent of a vice president. He was, I said, are you going to answer my question? And he's like, he doesn't move. I said, what's wrong with this guy? Oh, I will answer all questions. Why don't you behave like that? JD doesn't behave like that. JD buds into conversations. I want to have that for at least a couple of days, okay, JD? We'll keep you long term, but a couple of days of that would be very, very nice. Okay.
Hey everyone. Today we're diving into a topic that's both shocking and confusing. Why? Is Kim Jong-un's regime in North Korea so extreme, brutal, and long-lasting? And the thing is, this kind of phenomenon isn't unique to North Korea. It actually has deep roots in East Asian history, culture, and social structure. You've probably heard about the Soviet Union or Eastern European communist states. They eventually abandoned extreme totalitarian practices. Even some communist regimes in Africa collapsed quickly. But in East Asia, China, North Korea, Vietnam, they've lasted much longer. North Korea in particular is extreme. 3 generations of the Kim family have ruled, and ordinary people live under famine, fear, lack of freedom, and constant surveillance. To put it in perspective, in Cuba, people may be poor and lack meat or basic goods, but they can generally meet basic nutritional needs. In North Korea or Mao-era China, famines caused massive deaths, malnutrition, stunted growth, and even delayed mental development. In comparison, Castro's regime was, in a way, a milder experiment in communism. In East Asian culture, oppression of the population has deep historical roots. Ancient punishments were extremely cruel, things like execution by slow slicing, collective punishment of families, or even killing the entire clan. Ordinary people learned to avoid political discussions, a cautious mindset that persists today. Just look at China, where even casual online jokes can sometimes cross legal lines. Cultural details also tell a story: ghost stories, legends of grudges, ancient architecture, white funerals, blood-red weddings, even naming customs. They all reflect a profound awareness of life, death, and authority. Fear and suppression aren't accidents. They're baked into the social structure over centuries. East Asia may have fertile land and a favorable climate, but that didn't guarantee lasting prosperity. Much of the problem lies in how labor and production were organized. Europe long used horses and mules for farming, but China relied mostly on water buffalo until tractors became common in the late 20th century. Why? 2 main reasons. First, workers' skills and knowledge were limited. Second, rulers actively suppressed innovation and blocked foreign technology and ideas. Add internal mistrust and social conflict, and economic efficiency remained low. The result, periodic famines and resource shortages became a historical norm. Long-term famine created a survival-first mindset. The need for food and resources outweighs abstract ideals. At the same time, a strong drive to reproduce kept populations growing, creating constant competition for scarce resources. This logic shaped social structures and explains why East Asian history often features highly centralized and oppressive regimes. In systems without fair institutions, power and wealth become highly concentrated. Ordinary people work hard every day, while officials and rulers control resources and information to protect their own interests. Social inequality and centralization feed each other, making oppression part of daily life. Modern examples make it even clearer. Big data, surveillance, facial recognition. In today's East Asian governments can monitor almost every action, interaction, and purchase. Traditional centralized control is amplified to an extreme by modern technology. Historically, East Asian civilizations were never the world center. They often benefited from foreign technology, capital, and trade. Even their so-called golden ages relied heavily on external inputs. Today, China's economy depends heavily on international markets, so any disruption could threaten social stability. Countries like Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan have achieved democracy and freedom, but this was largely supported by long-term U.S. political, economic, and military backing. Even in these societies, there's vulnerability. Some people are short-sighted, self-interested, and easily swayed by power or outside influence. Freedom and prosperity in East Asia are the result of external support and social awakening, not something that naturally evolved. So, North Korea's extreme dictatorship is really just an extension of thousands of years of East Asian history, culture, and social structure. Modern technology makes control more precise, but it hasn't changed the underlying social logic. Understanding this historical context helps us see the region more clearly and reminds us just how fragile and precious democracy, freedom, and prosperity really are.